Here are the answers to the Unit I Geometry Study Guide. I measure angles with a protractor. I can draw circles with a compass. Triangles, tri, 3 sides. Hex, 6, they both end with X. Penta, 5. Octagon, like octopus, 8. Quads, 4. 90-degree angle is really a right angle. Angles larger than right, open wide, obtuse, or they're opening more than a 90. Acute, oh, it's a cute little angle, it's less than 90. The sum of the two short sides of the triangle must be longer than the longest side, or else it's not really going to be a triangle. Sum of the triangle angles always adds up to 180. Angles are measured in degrees, and the sign looks sort of like the little bubble floating up there. Means the same size and shape. That would be congruent. Two things are congruent. They're the exactly same size and shape. The diameter is twice as big as the radius. If two sides of the triangle are equal, then two of its sides are equal. If two sides of the triangle are equal, then two of its angles are equal. Scaling means no sides equal. Every time the pig gets on the scale, he weighs more, so none of them are equal. Isosceles is like the ice cream cone, two sides equal. Equilateral, they're all equal, so all three are equal. Two lines that never cross, parallel, just like the L's in parallel. Two lines that make a right angle are perpendicular. If the radius is 10, then the diameter is blank. All right, so if I had a circle, radius is halfway across, diameter is all the way across, so 10 plus 10 gets me to 20. If the diameter is 14, then I'm going to cut it in half to get the radius, which is 7. Main difference between a rhombus and a square. Squares always have 4 right angles. A rhombus doesn't have to, and they both have 4 equal sides. So the difference is the 4 right angles. Main difference between trapezoid and parallel. Difference. Trap, 1 set parallel sides. Parallelogram, like it sounds, has 2 sets of parallel sides. It's basically parallel all over. Main difference between a square and a rectangle. Squares have 4 equal sides, and rectangles don't. All right, what's the missing angle? Oh, we finally got a little bit of computation to do here. Remember, the angles of a triangle add up to 180, so I'm going to take 55 plus 90. I'm at 145. Take 180 minus 145. Do a little borrowing. 35. That would be the degrees for that one. Over here, the same kind of thing. I'm going to add them. I got 30 plus 25, which is 55. Subtract 180 minus 55. Borrowing again. 125 degrees, which makes sense because if you look at it, it's obviously an obtuse angle. Draw a congruent figure. Copy the vertices first. So I'm going to make my dots. This is my dot A. This is B. My corners, my vertices. C, D, E, and F. So now I just come over here and pick a spot. So this is my new A. And from A to B was 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my new B. From B to C, I went down 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. 1, 2, 3 down, 1 to the left. There's my new C. From C to D, it's just 2 to the left. From D to E, it's up 2. So there's my new E. And then from E to F, it's just over 1. And then I just connect the dots. And that should be 2 congruent figures. Volume of the prism equals length times width times height. So I can see this is 3 tall, 3 this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. So I got 3 times 3 times 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4, 36 cubes. Over here, it's the same thing. Length times width times height. And they've already got the numbers all there for me. So I got 8 times 6 times 6. I'm going to do 6 times 6 first, because 6 stacks of 6 2 picks is 36. 36 times 8, there's a 48. 24, 28. 288 cubic, and they were centimeters, cubic centimeters. All right. On this part, notice I gave you some directions that said you can only use each answer one time. Yeah, because polygons would show up all kinds of times otherwise. So you want to use the most strict answer, not the loosest. So here we go. This would be my radius. Goes halfway across the circle. Diameters go all the way across. I've got bunch of different lengths, bunch of different numbers of sides. So here is my polygon. So now we've used it, can't use it anymore. All of these shapes have 4 sides, which makes them quads. These shapes all have 5 sides, which makes them pentagons. These sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all have 6. 6 ends with X, just like hex of hexagons. I can see the stop sign right there right away. That tells me it's going to be 8. So these are octagons. And now we start in with some quads. All of these have 4 sides. We've already used quads. So now we're looking. They have a parallel at the top and the bottom. They have a parallel there and there. Parallel there and there. So they all have one set of parallels. So that would make them trapezoids. I'm naming the triangle 2 ways. Check the angles. There are no right or obtuse, so it's acute. How many sides are the same? 2, which is like an isocrene cone, so it's isosceles, acute isosceles. These appear to have parallel, 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 parallel. They're all parallel all the way, so it's parallelogram. Parallelogram. Name the triangle 2 ways. I see an obtuse angle right there. So this is going to be obtuse. How many sides are the same? It goes 3, 8, 9. Every time the pig gets on the scale, it gets bigger, so it's scalene. Over here, all of these shapes have 4 equal sides, which would make them in the rhombus family. Name the triangle 2 ways. I see a big right angle right there, so I know it's going to be right. 2 7s, 2 sides are the same. 2 sides of the ice cream cone are the same, so right isosceles. These would be rectangles, because they have 4 right angles. I have an obtuse angle, because it's open wide. 3, 4, 5, we got a right angle again. And 3, 4, 5, they're all different, because the pig gets bigger every time it gets on the scale, so it's a right scalene. These 2 angles cross to make a 90 right there, which would make them perpendicular lines. And this triangle, it's acute because there are no right or obtuse, and all my sides are equal, so it's acute equilateral. Scrolling up one last time. These 2 lines would never cross, which makes them parallel. Parallel lines, just like the L's in parallel. This triangle has an obtuse angle. 2 of the sides are the same, which is like the isocrene cone. So isosceles, an obtuse isosceles. This is an angle, and it's less than 90, which makes it a cute little angle. We got another angle. This one makes a 90 degrees, so it's a right angle. Tool used for measuring angles, protractor. Name the triangle 2 ways. There are no right or obtuse, so this is acute. And there are no sides the same, because every time the pig gets on the scale, he weighs something different, so we got acute scalene. Tool for making the circles is a compass. Down here, it looks like these all just have 3 sides, right? So they must be triangles. Draw a rhombus. Rhombuses have 4 equal sides. The thing that most people call a diamond is probably what comes to mind first, or also the square. Trapezoid looks like the trapezoid tables. They have one set of parallel sides, so I usually start with a short side on the top and a long side on the bottom, and then just connect those. Parallelogram, top and the bottom are parallel, and the two sides are parallel. Pentagon means I'm going to have 5 sides. The one that most people draw that looks like your house or home plate works. Jack measured the angle below with a protractor. He says it's 37 degrees. Explain how you know he made a mistake. Well, the angle's going from there to there, and it's bigger than a 90, so I could say, I know it's obtuse, and obtuse has to be larger than 90. So he used the wrong set of numbers on the protractor. Okay. Down here, the two triangles are congruent. Label each side of DEF. Okay, since these guys are congruent, I know the numbers 5, 12, and 13 are also going to be over here. And I have a mix-up on this. This side should have been 13 and this side 12 because that side's obviously longer. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to go over here, find the shortest side's a 5, so I know he's a 5. The side that makes a right angle with the 5 right there is going to be a 12, so this one must be a 12, and the long side's going to be a 13.